Hello, collective. I am camping in my tent today and I want to document my healing journey. And so I would like to share with you today a topic about healing generational trauma. I am in the thick of it and I'm really feeling it. I know that a lot of us are also going through the same thing, and I hope that this message can get to you in the way that you need the most at the moment. So, first, I would like to talk about how generational trauma is passed on and has passed on through our parents and through our culture, and how it might be manifesting within your DNA. So, as we all know, our parents have trauma. A lot of our parents might have been through war or being displaced. They might be Holocaust victim. They might have endured slavery, human trafficking, and barrage of crimes against humanity that we're trying to transmute from. And our parents might also be children, the parents that have gone through a lot of that, or they might be directly victims of these crimes against humanity themselves. And that is very important to remember, because as we are on our healing journey, we might get caught up in our old pain, or we might get caught up in therapy, and we might think to blame our parents or to feel angry in any kind of way. And while anger is the first step to awakening the desire and the will to live and the desire to transmute, fire is but the first step. There is so much that go into the process of healing, the alchemization process of it. And so if you are aware that you are a victim of childhood trauma or childhood abuse in any form or way, I deeply empathize with you. We are in this together. And there's no amount of love or empathy that I can send you that can ease your pain. I get it. But please, if you could sit back and take a look of what your parents might have been through, within their pain, therein lies the answer to your own suffering. Your DNA remembers the story. There's my dad. I take up the part of my dad. My dad is a soldier and he went to war. He was a communication officer. He took charge of communication, walkie-talkie and stuff like that within his unit. He has seen a lot of violence and a lot of death. He is still recovering from it. He has taken a spiritual approach in trauma healing, and now he's still building monument to help people remember the teammates that had sacrificed within the war. And then there's me. I am about my dad's age right now. I'm 28. And I asked my dad, hey dad, around like 27, 28, what were you doing? Because I had a suspicion, right? And my dad told me, around 27, I'm still in the forest fighting the war, marching, and seeing a lot of death and violence. And I wanted to ask him more about what he has seen in the war, but he didn't want to talk about it. I had married someone with quite a bit of violent history. I would not go too deep into it, but basically my ex-husband had a lot of history with going through violence and surviving violence, and how the war is dangerous, And when I was married to him, there was a lot of trauma that he was projecting onto me in hope to protect me. He believed each corner of the street was deeply dangerous, and I was too naive or inexperienced in some way to realize how dangerous the word is. I come from relatively easy, loving upbringing, childhood upbringing. When I was growing up, my sisters had left the home, so I was basically the only child. I was very fortunate to receive all the love. I had a lot of compassion and all that, but yeah, so that was my life before my ex-husband. But within the trauma that he endured, I also underwent through a lot of trauma response from him, where he had a lot of big fire response, where he wanted to control or demand or make sure that I was safe, make sure that he was safe in some way. And all of this had conditioned me to believe that the words are so dangerous, that he was constantly mad at me and I should be fearful somehow. And I had lived under a lot of pressure. And towards the end of our marriage, there was a lot of trauma that happened. And that is important to remember, because that's the war programming that I believe my brain was trying to reproduce within my psyche, even in times of peace, even in times of 21st century. Somehow my psyche has chosen to love someone with violence ingrained within. There is a lot of sadness and anger and bitterness, and my brain has chosen that experience. And so, why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because I know that it's easy to go through a healing journey being a little bit more self-centered and thinking what's wrong with us, what's wrong with our childhood, what did our parents do to us. But the issue goes so much deeper than just what happened via your childhood. It's what your parents endure, is stored in your DNA, and it's what your ancestor went through that your parents carry, the way that they were treated, and it's the ancestor before that, and the before that, and the before that. And our culture, or the culture that you were brought up in, so deepen this ancestor's wound, where they might portray your ancestor wound a certain way. For example, if you're a certain race, let's say if you're born black, you might have a lot of anger towards slavery, or the system might tell you that you do not have access to certain opportunity, or that you're a victim in some ways. And it is not to diminish your pain, not to say that you're not a victim, but via the media narrative of how your ancestors or your race or your bloodline is portrayed, it's very damaging that you're now carrying trauma from your ancestor and bloodline that you might not want to carry. You might want to break out of the victim mentality, and you might want to feel empowered, the true empowerment that can only come from freedom of being sovereign within yourself. And it's very difficult to truly connect to that deep life force that is within you, that comes directly from source, when the system and the matrix keeps telling you who you are and how you're supposed to be, because people that look like you, people in your family or your neighborhood or your bloodline, might react a certain way, might have a shared narrative. It is not to say that the narrative don't matter. I will get into that in a little bit. It matters in that there's the identity and the vessels that and the history that you were born into that birth you into life. But it is important to remember the other parts of you, the oversoul that encompasses all of this. The part that is limitless, the part that is source like, the part that is cut from the cloth of something much bigger than you, but that is you. That you are the universe, you are God, you are whatever names that the system have tried to separate from you, that tell you that you have to worship, to make you forget that you are it. And the reason why it is important to remember your identity, your bloodline, your ancestors, your trauma, and all this is because it's not just trauma that get carried through your DNA. It's the immense talent. It's the immense love and resilience and strength that have been cultivated for thousands, if not really millions of years of survival, of natural selection. You are here because you are the best of your kind. You get to exist and you get to experience and you get to live life because you've been selected to do so, quite frankly, by nature and by your own bloodline and life force and DNA and all of that stuff. You are not here because you are weak. You are here because within your vessel, you've been carefully selected and bred in a way that honor your utmost talent and unique qualities. And so even though you are also carrying the trauma and the curse within your DNA, remember that gift, honor that gift, and love the parts of you, love the parts that you carry from your parents, from your trauma, from your ancestors, all of that. Love that part. Sometimes when I find myself going crazy, deep in grief, deep in fear of violence, or feeling enslaved in some kind of ways, remembering my ancestors' memory of being conquered and colonized by other countries. Or sometimes I remember being concubine, being deeply deprioritized and chosen within the system that I was born into, having a lot of jealousy from it. When I remember all of that, all of this pain, sometimes I just say hi. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, my ancestors within me. Thank you for showing me these information. I love you for who you are. I see the pain that you went through. I could love you through all of this, and to transmute this using love. Love is the force that allows life force to unfold, to find a way, and to experience. And so if you're on your healing journey and you're in the thick of it, realizing that you've carried pain that is bigger than your body could endure, that your memory of your current self can remember, know that your ancestors and your family and all the beings that have existed before you so you could be here today have fought through so much hardship so that you are here. And remember that you are love and you can allow love to show you the way. I hope that life force find you. I hope that you are safe. I hope that you are transmuting all that need to be transmuted. And so may your soul be free. Until next time.